Oh, yeah, thanks, man. All right, get out. All right, guys, hey, let's move. Yeah, there we go. All right, hey, guys, this is the Coco Show episodes ranking where I'm going to rank each and every Coco Show episode from the worst to the best. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want you to know what episodes are good and what episodes are bad without finding out for yourself. I want to tell you, so just so you know. Also, I got dressed up for the video because this is like the ending of the Coco Show, at the end of a wonderful era. So let's take a look back in time and see the Coco Show episodes and how I rank them. But right now, we're gonna take a look, and I see I've been having trouble moving the. Oh, that's how you do that. All right, let's take a look at the worst Coco Show episode, and it is Season 1, Episode 13, No Jailmates, No Jailbreaks. Now, I'm going to fiddle about here with the camera if it works, hopefully. You know what? I think this is a good spot. We'll just leave it right there. So, how I'm ranking these... I don't know why it switched, is I'm basing it off of how funny it is and how interesting it is. And I'm rating it out of 10 for a total score of 20. And this one ranked really badly. It's a 1 out of 10 for funny and a 1 out of 10 for interesting. And let me tell you, it's like it makes a total score of 2. So that's how I'm going to be scoring all of these episodes. It's the worst one by far because it's a 5-minute episode. I felt like there was no attempt of any jokes or anything. It was just sloppy, it was bad, and it was all on the computer, and it was terrible. But what happened was the police officer Tickets went to this Coco's school and said that the school was going to be treated like jail, and that's about it. I don't really know why that's funny. It was pretty bad. So we're going to look and see what made the second worst episode. In 51st place, we have Season 1, Episode 6, Mother's Day, who scored the same score of 2, which is pretty bad, 2 out of 20. So the Mother's Day episode, although Mother's Day is a great holiday, it's a pretty bad episode. What happened was Coco needed to make a project for his mom, but he made a pretty garbage project for his mom. And then he had this big speech about why he loves his mom so much. And then he picked out a flower for his mom, and that was it. So really not that funny. It was I don't know if it was supposed to be wholesome. I don't know. It was not a funny episode, 51st place. Now, in 50th place, we have the Season 1, Episode 12, Future Fortune, which I spelled wrong. I just realized there's supposed to be an E at the end of Fortune. Sorry about that. But this one actually scored a 3 instead of a 2. Like, oh my god, that's crazy. But the reason why this one was just a little bit better than the other two was because I at least tried to be funny. It wasn't funny, though, but I at least tried. The other two, I didn't even try to be funny. This was a pretty bad, episode. What happened was Coco and Roger both got fortune cookies at the Chinese restaurant, and one of them told Coco to go to a fortune teller, and she, I don't really remember what happened. She was talking about, I don't know, and she tried to scam Coco. It wasn't really that great of an episode. Now in 49th place, Season 1, Episode 14, you're going to notice a lot of Season 1 episodes ranked low. I felt like Season 1 wasn't really that funny. But this one is Coco is Fancy. What happens is a scarf fell on Coco's head. He felt fancy because he had the scarf on his head. He started showing off to all his friends. And then they told him, Coco, you're kind of, a D-bag, really. I don't know how else to say it. And he was kind of like, oh, yeah, here's my scarf. I'm so fancy. And it just wasn't good. It just wasn't funny. And this one also scored a 3, but it's the funniest one so far. But now in 48th place, we have Season 1, Episode 4, Taking Care of the Dog. So now this is the second in real life episode. We've had 3 computer episodes. The computer episodes are pretty bad, but this one was also not that great. It also scored a 3. And what happened was Miss Carrots told Coco to take care of her dog so he can receive a good grade. And he had to do all these different tasks, but he couldn't feed the dog because he wanted to play ball with his friends. And that's really it. I don't really have much to say. It was just a meh episode. Not really that great. So next, episode 1. I've been speaking really badly all this week. I'm sorry. Season 1, episode 8. A Bad Day at Recess in 47th place. Now, this one actually got a score of 4, so it's the highest so far. And so, A Bad Day at Recess, what happened was Roger told Coco to put on his helmet, and even though Coco didn't want to, but Coco ended up getting in trouble for wearing Roger's helmet. And so what ended up happening was he got recess detention, and he got moved a couple times, then he left the school for some reason. So again, there's going to be a lot of episodes in this video that I talk about that are just I don't even really know what to say because they're not that funny. I can't think of any moments that are that significant. So we're just going to move on to 46th place, which is Season 1, Episode 20, Rainy Day. So this was the last episode in Season 1. First of all, terrible thumbnail. I mean, who designed this? It was me. But I don't know. Basically what happened was it was raining outside and Coco was like, you know what, let's just go in the rain just because why not? And they all sang songs in the rain and, I was trying to make a wholesome episode, but it didn't really work. And yeah, it was just a pretty garbage episode. It wasn't really that funny. Someone said something about farting, I think. That might have been a little bit funny. But it's a fart joke, man. That's it. This one also received a score 4. Get out of here. Then, Season 1, Episode 11, Coco Makes a Present. This is the first episode that features the reference to Claudia Glowpens. Claudia was not in the episode, but we did get to hear Claudia's voice for the first time. So basically, Claudia's birthday was coming up June 2nd, which, wow, that is coming up soon in real life, so happy birthday to Claudia. Don't ask me how I remember that. Anyway, so basically he was like, Coco wanted to give Claudia a present. And so he got a can, filled it up with bath water, and said oh, yeah, here you go, Claudia, it's some bath water. But Claudia ended up drinking the bath water, which is pretty bad. But I thought since it's the first episode with Claudia, I mean, it was okay. It wasn't that great. So I gave it a 2 for funny, 2 for interesting, score of 4. Just not that great. Get out of here. It had potential, but it just wasn't that great, though. So next episode, Season 1, Episode 19, The Building Competition in 44th place. So basically in this one, there was a building competition. Coco kept inventing things that already existed and got all the names wrong and stuff. And then he made a seesaw, I think, and then it ended up somehow Coco was throwing rocks at Roger, and the crowd loved it. I think at the time I thought it was funny, but it's really not that funny. So I think this is... There's a lot of episodes where I've been trying to be wholesome more than being funny. In this episode, I was trying to be funny, but it just didn't work. So 2 for funny, 2 for interesting, score 4. Get out of here. Time for 43rd place, Season 1, Episode 2, The Fire. So this is the second ever Coco show. And what happens in The Fire is Coco sees a fire on the TV, and then he calls the fire department. He sees it again, calls the fire department, sees it again, calls the fire department, and then calls the fire department again and just tells Officer Tickets, hey, you want to eat a cookie? And he's like, all right, fine. That's literally all that happened in the episode. Nothing else happened. That was it. So, it won for funny because it wasn't funny, but interesting, I thought it held my attention. It definitely held my attention as compared to a lot of other episodes. So, at least it had that. But it wasn't funny, though. But now, 42nd place, a little bit better than all the ones we've looked at so far. We have Gardening, which the OGs, if you know, Macy knows if she's watching this, gardening You know. I mean, that's what you have to call this episode. You have to call it gardening, right? But in gardening, Coco got some soil, some friggin' water. No. Soil, batteries, and carrots. And because he thought that if you put the seeds in the soil, put batteries in it, it'll grow. But he ended up getting water in it, and somehow Twizzlers grew. So I felt like it wasn't really that funny. Although this episode got a score of 5, I think really the only reason was because I thought it was a little funny and it kind of held my attention a little bit, but it wasn't really all that great. So next episode is our first season 2 episode. Season 2, episode 7, Snowman Dude. Now, this is crazy because all the episodes we've talked about so far were from season 1. And that is by far, I think, the worst season. But it's interesting seeing a season 2 scoring only a 5. And the reason being is this episode is the longest Coco Show episode, with going a little bit over 12 minutes long, which is crazy. But this is the first episode. No, this is the second episode that introduced Snowman Dude. It was all about Coco realizing, that Snowman Dude really likes Clavia. And they were listening to a song, and Coco got really agitated anytime the song played. And I felt like if the episode were shorter, it would have been good. But just because it was so long and didn't deserve to be that 12 minutes long, it gets a 5. Get out of here. Wasn't really that great. I'm just checking the microphone. I don't know why. Oh, well, this is... I just revealed my secret. I got another microphone. Double action. All right, season 1, episode 10, The Stomach Ache. Now, fun fact about this episode. If you watch it over again, it says in the episode, part 2 coming soon. There was never a part 2. But you know what's hilarious? I just went into my phone and I found the unreleased part 2 to this episode because I recorded a part 2, never uploaded it, and probably never will. So that is some hidden Coco Show lore for you. But in 40th place, we have The Stomach Ache part 1, technically, but it's really just... And it actually says that right there. See, it says part 1, but there was never a part 2 that was released. So what happened was Roger gave Coco Sour Patch Kids Big Kids. Coco ate them, got a stomach ache, and Roger was like, yeah, of course you're going to get a stomach ache. No one can eat that stuff. And Coco got really mad at him, and they had a fight, and it never got resolved, even though it technically did, but it was never released. So it gets a 3. It gets a 3. I thought it wasn't hilarious. It might have had its funny moments, but it definitely held my attention. So 6. In 39th place, we have Season 1, Episode 5, Best Friend Problems. This is the first episode featuring Roger. And basically what happens in this episode is Coco and Roger are just being bros. They're hanging out. And then Coco starts talking about White Monkey. And Roger gets really jealous. And then Coco realizes that Roger's acting differently and thinks that he has a new best friend. But then they realize that Roger's just jealous of White Monkey, and Coco's like, no, we're still friends too. And so it wasn't really that funny, but there was one part where Coco said constipated, and it made me laugh. And literally just because Coco said constipated once and made me laugh, it gets a 6. It probably would have gotten like a 3. But just because he said constipated once, it made me laugh, so it gets a 6. So next, in 38th place, we have Season 1, Episode 3, Trying to Learn School Bus Safety. So basically what happens in this episode is there's a school bus driver that teaches school bus safety. He makes the kids do an assignment about school bus safety. Coco completely messed up the assignment, as he usually does, and made a fool out of himself. And there was a couple funny jokes here and there. Not hilarious or anything, but a couple funny ones. So it gets a 6. It was pretty decent. Although I was very, very quiet when speaking in this episode, I still felt like I enjoyed it. So it gets a 6. It gets in 38th place. Now in 37th place, the OG itself. And I know this is the second time I've said the OG, but this is Season 1, Episode 1, the first ever Coco Show, the Easter Chickadee Pilot. Now, everyone must know this episode. So what happens in the Easter Chickadee pilot, Coco wants to find the Easter Chickadee because everyone just normally finds eggs. But he finds out it's illegal to find the Easter Chickadee, and he gets tricked by the Easter Chickadee, goes to an ice cream stand, finally finds Easter Chickadee, gets sent to jail, and it's a grand old time. Again, not a funny episode, but just because it was the first episode and I thought that I liked ice cream, you know that part? Yeah, ice cream. I thought that was whatever, man. So it gets a 2 for funny, 4 for interesting. So we're balling, man. We got these big numbers. We're getting a big 4 for interesting. So that means a total score of 6 in 37th place, the first episode. So now in 36th place, this is season 1, episode 16, A Hot Day. And now this is where I think this is kind of the line between, and you can see it turns from yellow to blue. This goes from not that great of an episode to half decent. And I honestly think, my honest opinion about A Hot Day, it's not a bad episode. From here on out, I think all of these episodes are good to look back on, good to watch. So what happens in A Hot Day is Coco needs to call a professional to stay cool for his ball match because, well, I mean, it's a hot day. And he calls up Can, which this is Can's first feature in the Coco show. And then later on, he learns a couple methods on how to be cool, and then he like rolls around, something like that. And I thought that was funny. So 3, then 4, it gets a score of 7. And so now, those were my rankings for the worst Coco show episodes, even though this one wasn't half bad. So just try to avoid these episodes. But if you really want to see how bad they are, go ahead and watch them. But I'll see you guys next time for the second episode release where I talk about the middle episodes ranked. All right. Bye, guys.